Meeting, it is 5:31 p.m. This is a special board meeting of the Camp Branch Acres Subdivision POA held electronically per Texas Property Code 209.0051C2. Please note that Camp Branch Acres Subdivision does not have a dedicated social media page, and the Facebook page Camp Branch Acres Residents is not affiliated with this POA in any way. Any information that may be posted about this association should be regarded as false unless approved by the board of directors. Any emails that are not specifically from CBAPOA@gmail.com should also be regarded as unvetted opinions. The chat is not available. If you have any questions, please send them to our email address and they will be addressed at that time. So we need to approve the minutes from 3/1 of 20. Oh, I'm sorry. Members in attendance. We have Harrell, Philip Kennedy, Charlene O'Brien, Jerry Sullivan, and Kelle Rahm. We have approval of minutes from 3/1/25. Kelly, you sent those out. Did anybody have questions or comments?
I was able to read through them at one point, and then I went back because I realized I hadn't approved them. I couldn't get them to come up again, but I didn't have a problem with them. That's why I didn't respond. I couldn't get them to pull back up, but I had no problem.
Read through them. I didn't have any problems either.
Okay. All right, do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make the motion to
Candidate
approve the minutes.
makes a motion. Yep. Okay. Pick one.
Jerry motion. Philip, you want a second?
Philip seconds.
All in favor?
Aye. Philip.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, none opposed. Okay, and next item, discuss and act on banking information. Okay, so we have a major issue here. On 3/23, I sent an email to the board members requesting that Charlene provide information on what we need to open new accounts with the valid EIN number. That evening, we received an email from Charlene showing that she had already sent a letter to the IRS on 3/21, and it read, the existing EIN number from 1977 assigned to Camp Branch Acres Property Owners Association on 6/14/1977 is the old number. Please find I have included a copy of our original EIN assignment letter. This is our business account. Please deactivate/close the business account under the fictitious name Camp Branch Acres Subdivision Property Owners Association with the new EIN number assigned 5/20/2024. This application was filed in error as an EIN already existed for our business. Please update your records accordingly and mail a confirmation letter to our address listed above. Thank you for your assistance in this matter, and I can be reached at your phone number. On 3/25, I asked Kelly, who is the signer on the accounts, to get with the bank to find out what was needed to straighten out our accounts, and she had asked them to verify the EIN number themselves. On 3/27, I called the IRS again. I spoke with Miss Brooks. Her number is 100-550-2212. She confirmed that the old EIN number is not in the IRS system. She stated if it is not in their system, The number had to have been canceled in writing and that it could not be reactivated. She stated that if it was only deactivated, she would be able to see it in her system and she would have the ability to reactivate it, but it does not exist in their system. The number would never be reused and we would have to file for a new EIN number, which we did in May of 2024. On 3/31, I went to the bank in person to get a status on Kelly's request because we hadn't heard anything. Both Ivan and Haley were out of the office that day. I did speak with a Nancy at that time, and she informed me our bank information was being sent to Charlene's personal email instead of the association's email, and that Nancy only handles the mobile banking features. On 4/2, I went back to the bank and was able to speak with Ivan Juarez, who is assistant vice president at the bank. He showed me an email that was sent by Jerry that had the IRS letter attached to it, and that email had only CC'd Charlene and not all the board members. I explained that the 1977 EIN number was not a valid number per the IRS. I asked him if he has a system to verify EIN numbers from the IRS, and he said that is done when the account is opened. He said his compliance officer could possibly be able to do that and he would get with them. He called later that afternoon after speaking with both the compliance officer and the CEO and notified me that the bank would be closing our accounts and issuing 2 cashier's checks. We would have to provide a board letter that the accounts were terminated and for one of the signers to pick up the checks and who that would be, and that the letter must be signed by all the board members. He stated that we would have to take our business elsewhere because the bank is unwilling to assume any liability for potential complications resulting in unresolved issues with this board, which could include theft and multiple EIN numbers. I asked him to please email this information to us, and I emailed that letter to the board on 4/3. My first question is, Charlene, did you ever contact the IRS about what we have tried to reverberate that the old EIN number is not valid?
Yes, I did.
And what did they
And
tell?
they told me what I needed to do was do exactly what I did. Well, they asked me what EIN number was issued first. I told them. They said, what EIN number has conducted business? I told them. They said, that is the EIN number that you need to be working with. You need to deactivate it. You need to send us a letter. All of that information is on our helpline, which I also included in my email to you guys, where I got the information to send the deactivation letter.
And that came from the bank or from the IRS?
That came from the IRS. But since you brought up the bank also told me that EINs, which I'm aware of, and it says so on the IRS page, they don't deactivate numbers. Once they're there forever.
Okay,
They
so
never go away.
why is the 1977 EIN number not coming up in their system?
I can't tell you that, Kelly. I don't know. But Kelly Harrell has requested information from the IRS in writing, which we need. She hasn't received any that I'm aware of that we can provide to the community to try to straighten this mess out. I haven't received any, or I would have certainly shared it, but that's what we need. We need something in writing from the IRS that gives us a clear path of what we need to be doing. I don't care which EIN it is. I just need the IRS to help us figure it out. And I've made umpteen phone calls to them, asking them for help and what to do. And right now is the worst possible time in the world to try to get the help from the IRS. It's tax time.
And did Miss Brooks provide you with anything in writing, Kelly, stating that the number had been discontinued in writing?
Her exact words were she could not provide any transcript of our telephone call or anything in writing.
See, that's the problem.
Philip has a
It's a
comment.
lot of hearsay.
Okay, Philip?
It's no longer hearsay. I spoke to the IRS yesterday. They confirmed that the old EIN number no longer exists in their database and it cannot be reused. For us to move forward, we have to have a new EIN number. The old one is
Did they
no
put-
longer available. It's been purged.
Philip, you're doing the
Alright.
same thing that's been done for over a year. You're telling us one thing and you're asking
They
us
won't
to
put it in
accept
writing.
it.
I spoke to them. You need to call them and say the exact words. Give them the old
Well,
EIN number and say, is this still valid? And they will tell you, no, it's not. They will look it up
You
for
know
you
what-
on
do-
the phone.
Do you know what will happen once they receive my letter to deactivate the one that is from 2024? They
They
will
can't-
respond to me in writing. And
Okay,
then
well,
once and for
right
all,
now we
we
don't
will
have a valid,
finally have it.
it's a mess. Okay, I'm done.
Okay, well, good.
But did you hear what I just said, Philip? If what you're saying is accurate and what Kelle Harrell has been saying is accurate and what Kelle Rahm is saying is accurate, then they will respond to my letter to
You told them to
deactivate the
cancel the new one and use the
2024.
old one.
Excuse me?
You told them to cancel the old one and cancel the new one and go back to using the old one that does not exist in their system.
And they will verify those. If they cannot find the 1977 EIN number, they will respond to me in that manner. They will put it in writing that this EIN number is not found in our system. And they will not follow through with the second part of that request. But it will be in writing once and for all.
And it will be stamped if they received it and how they responded.
So we're going to run
that's
without a
gonna-
bank account until they respond?
Well, the good news is our bank account is active for 30 days. This is nothing that we have to stop right now and go open another account. I mean, I know it's pressing and I know that we have to do it. That is what we're being forced to do. We have dissolved a 50-year relationship with the bank because the treasurer wasn't left alone to let her do her job. And you couldn't wait until I got back to have a discussion with me
You need
about
to
it.
use names if you're going to make accusations, please.
That's not an accusation. That's a statement because
It's
Kelle
a
Harrell
statement
and
that,
Kelle
that
Rahm
you,
and
who is you?
and
Who is you?
I said Kelle Harrell and Kelle Rahm couldn't let me as treasurer do my job. I'd already inquired. They were already aware of the other filings. I have a letter from them telling me the criteria for opening new accounts. Once I got a response on the 1977 EIN number, we were fine. I was just waiting on paperwork I could submit to the bank. But instead, Kelle Rahm and Kelle Harrell went to the bank and upset them in such a way that they fired us after 50 years of doing business. And it
I think you
wasn't
need to
because
be very clear, Charlene, in your accusations. One, I didn't go to the bank. Two, I sent an email in writing to the compliance officer of the bank to please validate our EIN number, the one that you're saying is valid that is not. When they investigated it, that's why the compliance officer has come back and said they're deactivating our account because they think now we have two EIN numbers and they know the one is not valid. So I caution you to start accusing me of something. I caution you of that.
I'm aware that you did not go in person. I've
But you
read
just
the
said I
emails.
did. But you just said I did. So I
I
caution
will.
you to
She
be
said
very
you
clear.
went to them. She
I
didn't
went.
say you went in
didn't.
person.
So
I went
caution
in
you-
person.
Exactly. And Jerry, you sent a letter to them without
I
anybody
did.
else knowing. So
Well, that's because Kelle Rahm had sent letters without advising anybody else either.
I don't know
So
that.
if
What
she-
letters
Kelly
did-
letters.
What letters did I
Okay.
send?
The
You sent,
emails.
you sent emails to the bank and you didn't copy us on it.
I did that after the fact.
The bottom line is my whole point in this was we were fine at the bank. I was waiting from backup from the IRS so that I could provide the bank with documentation from them to change the EIN number over. I had already I could just tell them, hey, that EIN went away. They said that doesn't happen. They
They would-
wanted
that-
documentation.
The
So
EIN will
I-
never be used ever again. That is correct. But if it is not in their system, it's not active. It is a red flag. If we send in to reinstate or reactivate that old EIN number, it's going to red flag it, and they're going to tell us to go ahead, or we have to get a new EIN number, which we've already done. Now
That's
you've
not what
already
I'm saying.
told
I'm
them
talking
to.
about bank business. I'm talking about bank business, 100% bank
Okay.
business. The bank wanted something from the IRS in order to close that account with that EIN number for their records. I had already talked to them about the other filings. I have a letter from Haley Hartsfield that tells me what needs to be done to open new accounts with the new filings. I was merely waiting on the paperwork to provide to the bank and to the board for those actions to take place. We were fine.
Well, okay, so why didn't you send that email or that letter from the bank with the rest of the board?
On opening the
Y'all
new
want
accounts,
transparency, and you're hiding stuff here
I'm
that,
not hiding anything. I'm doing my job.
okay, but you need to let everybody know what you're doing. Okay,
I'm
and,
doing, you know,
and accountability, because
Kelly, every meeting that we've had, we've discussed needing backup for these filings, needing backup to try to figure out the two EINs. I specifically, on the February 2nd meeting, 2 hours in, I addressed what a big problem the two EIN numbers were. Kelly admitted she had never seen the original assignment letter from 1977. I
have
said I
that
was
letter.
working with the bank on it.
I have that letter. So if you're talking about me, I have that letter. I'm the one that provided that letter in the first place in the treasurer information that's on the Google Drive. I'm the one that uploaded it.
I'm talking about the 1977 assignment letter.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Well, I have the letter. I have a
Well,
copy.
that letter could never be found. I asked for it over and over
It's
again.
I have a
uploaded.
copy of it.
And I've got the text message from Kelle Rahm that finally sent it to me, telling me this is the only thing that's in that file folder. And it took several text messages and umpteen amounts of time for her to even get that to me, because I kept being told that it didn't exist. Nobody knew what I was talking about.
I told you it's on the Google Drive. In fact, I'll go
It
get it
is-
right now and hold it up for everyone to see it. Give me a minute.
It is now, but it wasn't at the time.
okay, so during that time, we were still trying to scan in information into that drive and I provided that immediately whenever you asked for it, because I thought it was all in the treasurer information.
Here's the
We were
initial letter.
lucky. Yeah, we were lucky that we even had all this information, because documentation should have been purged long ago. But did you have that information from the bank at that time, whenever you said in February that you were telling us? Did you have a letter from them,
The bank where I had spoken with the
Haley?
new accounts rep on what we needed to do to open the new accounts.
You said you had a letter from Haley.
Mm-hmm.
When did you get that letter?
It was in March.
Okay, so again, why didn't you provide that to the board so that the rest of the board would know what was going on? Because this is information that we need to know so that we can make informed decisions for this community.
She was
Kelly,
doing
I was trying to
treasurer's
get
job.
everything figured out.
Board
She
might have
was
been able to
doing the
help you with that.
treasurer's job.
No, it was
I'm sorry.
time, Phil. I didn't need any more help. I've been waiting on documentation from the IRS since I first brought it up when I asked why did we have a new EIN when we went into executive session after the election. I asked the question right then.
Okay, so why do you believe that the new EIN number has a fictitious name?
Fictitious is another word for doing business as. Don't take offense to that, please.
Okay, because where in our covenants and restrictions or governing documents does it say Camp Branch Acres Owners Association? We have no documentation of why they changed that name or put that name on there from any minutes or anything. That does not
That's what's on the original EIN assignment letter.
I'm very well aware of that. But our
You
governing
asked me where I
documents
got it from. That's where I got it from.
our governing documents have a different name.
The bank uses the name that is on the EIN, which was established in 1977.
Again, there is no documentation as to why they changed the name from the governing documents. Where's my bill?
The letter that I got from Haley that explained new accounts was on March 24th.
So that was after you sent the letter to the IRS.
Yes, because
Okay, so could you please forward that to us, to the rest of the board?
Sure.
Okay, so we're at a standstill here as far as being able to do anything.
I have a motion to make.
Okay,
I make a motion to remove Kelly Harrell as chairman
Kelle
of the
Rahm.
board. Kelle Rahm as chairman of the board of this association due to her actions and unprofessional behavior at the First National Bank of Trinity, causing which we've had a relationship for over 50 plus years, causing them to decide to close our existing bank account, and has declined to establish any accounts with us. This will cause our association to pay additional banking fees that have been free to us previously. Additionally, it will affect our credit standing and ability to obtain loans, and it will affect our banking reputation. I think that we remove Kelle Rahm from the board, and we go back and ask for a meeting with the bank and discuss the fact that we're trying to clear up the two EIN numbers with the IRS, and as soon as we have clarification on that we will advise them of which EIN number that we should be doing business under, and that we would like to operate under that EIN number and resume our banking relationships.
A long motion, Jerry.
What's that?
Said that's a long motion.
It is a long motion, but the motion is to remove Kelly as chairperson of the board. And then the rest of that was giving you my reasons for recommending doing so.
I second that motion.
Okay.
Bill, you were going to say something?
No, he's got a motion on the floor. Calls for a vote this time. Unless you want to discuss it some more. It's open for discussion.
Yes.
Okay, are y'all going to discuss? Jerry, you're the one that sent that letter from the IRS to the bank,
I am. I sent it to the bank
and
because
you didn't copy the rest of the board.
you didn't copy the board, or you didn't advise the board whenever you went down there to start trying to make these changes. You had already been up there and before I sent that letter, and I was advised of what you were asking, and and so I sent that letter. It's out there. It's in the open. I stand behind it.
And it's nothing more, the email that Jerry sent is nothing more than letting Mr. Juarez know what actions I had taken trying to rectify the duplicate or the two EIN numbers to show him that we were trying to get the paperwork figured out. I just emailed CBAPOA@gmail.com, forwarded the email from Haley Hartsfield on March 24th. If you'd like me to, I'll read it to you.
Did you send it to CBA or did you send it to the board?
CBAPOA@gmail.com.
All right.
Would you like me to read it to you?
Sure.
Dear valued customer, we would like to inform you that if Camp Branch Acres decides to change their EIN, we will have to close all current accounts and reopen new accounts with the new EIN information. If Camp Branch Acres does not receive a new EIN, even though your institutions had customer relationship with us for many years, your institution would be considered a new customer. Thus, any current product that has been with the old EIN attached would have to be deactivated or closed. As a result, our establishment would need to update documentation provided for all new signers and accounts. That is to serve no other purpose but to let this board and this community know I was open to whatever the IRS was going to come back to me with, to take to the board and take to this community and say, hey, look, the IRS got back with us. It's clear now. It's not just he's saying this or she's saying this. And here's what we need to do at the bank.
Okay, you should have forwarded that to us whenever you got it.
I would have forwarded it to you as a whole once everything was ready. It doesn't take the IRS more than 10 or 15 days to respond.
Okay.
The letter to the IRS should not have been to close out anything. It should have been an informational request as to the validity of the EIN number they had on file. You made substantial changes, requested substantial changes that I don't believe you had the authority to do.
And Kelly had already sent a letter asking for records. Kelly, you had sent a letter to the IRS requesting records, correct?
Yes, I asked them to validate the tax ID number.
That was the correct procedure,
I've never seen a copy of that document. What's the date on that document, Kelly?
That's when I was accused at the last meeting back in March of doing all this that I shouldn't have done. So I decided when you guys asked me, well, who did you talk to? Do you have proof in writing? I decided I was going to get the proof in writing.
Great. Have they responded to you at all with regard to that letter?
No, it's been 4 weeks.
Did you upload that request to the IRS?
No, I didn't.
I asked
from a personal standpoint. I didn't ask from a CBA standpoint. You accused me personally, so I personally am now going to prove that I was right in what I did.
Well, Kelly, I caution you, I haven't accused you of doing anything wrong. I have only asked for things in writing and documentation for backup purposes. I'm not accusing anybody of anything. I just would like a clear paper trail for actions to present to this community that we are acting in their best interest.
Way to go.
I'm sorry.
So that if you did that personally, then, and we didn't know about it, then this statement about you had already been working on this, we didn't know about it. Okay, so I think that Charlene was correct in going ahead and proceeding as she had been advised to do by other people and that have dealt with the IRS. And I take exception to her doing something that was beyond her authority.
Jerry, who told her that she could deactivate the business account under the name of Camp Branch Acres Subdivision Property Owners using the new EIN number signed May 2024. Who told her to do that?
Well, wait, let's
I
go
didn't.
back.
It wasn't brought to the
Let's-
board at all, to my knowledge.
Well, let's go back. Who authorized us to Kelly and Kelly to go to the IRS and ask for a new EIN number? The board never was involved in that.
The old
Who-
board
who are-
knew that we were going to get a new
Yes.
tax ID number because the old board knew that FEMA said they could not find a tax ID valid for us, which is why we could not qualify for any assistance because there was no valid tax ID number.
Exactly. That's what
Where-
started this whole mess.
Whole mess, exactly.
And who were the board members at that time?
It was me, it was Travis, it was Kelly. Phil, you hadn't gotten on the board, and it was Joe.
And Joe.
So Phil, you don't really know that. You're just going by what you've heard.
No. I'm going by
was
what
at
I
that
have
meeting.
seen and spoken of. My question to you was, who authorized the treasurer to take our Camp Branch Acres Subdivision Property Owners Association with its new EIN number and ask the IRS to cancel it?
And I'm asking who authorized the
Answer my
Kellys to
question
go.
first. One question at a time. Don't throw a question on top of a question. That's a politician's move.
Oh, great. I'm a great politician then. I'm glad you
Answer the question,
pointed that
Jerry,
out.
or don't.
Uh,
Who
You know,
gave
when you're-
the treasurer the authority
When-
to
when-
cancel out our Camp Branch Acres subdivision POA with the IRS in writing? Who gave her the permission to do that? She
Well,
can
you
act
gotta
on
go-
behalf of the board, but not for the board.
Let's
It's
go
my
back.
duty as treasurer. I handle the IRS situations and I am the agent.
You're the agent to carry out signatures after the board tells you to do something. You are not in charge of canceling and doing stuff like that without board authorization.
Where's the documentation from the board that Kellys were that they were
you're not
authorized
gonna
to
answer
go
the
and
question.
apply for a new EIN number?
You're not going to answer the question. You're going to just answer a question with a question.
Well, let's find, you need to go back to the precedent, okay? How did this start out?
We
No,
told
we need
you,
to just
and we
go to
have
the
been
law
saying
and follow the
this.
rules. You don't break one law by breaking another law and say it's okay because the other law was broken. It just doesn't work that way in our system.
Thank you, Phil.
You did something wrong, so now I'm authorized to do something wrong. You can't use that argument, Jerry.
In other words, let's don't ask them to be responsible for what they did, even though it wasn't
I'm not
unauthorized
saying
because
that.
you've
That's
asked
not
a
what we're
question.
discussing right now, is it? You're trying to deflect it, Jerry.
Well,
Four
I guess
times or
you
three
might-
times I've asked you to answer my question. Who gave authority to Charlene to send a letter to the Internal Revenue Service asking them to cancel our or
He was
stating that an
acting-
EIN number already existed for this business, and it doesn't.
Yeah, it does.
And who
It-
authorized her to send that letter?
She
I
was
was
acting in
advised
her
by the
capacity
IRS
as a treasurer.
representative.
Okay, so at that point, Charlene, you should have gotten with the board and made some kind of notification that you've been advised to send this letter, and the board needed to discuss that and make a decision to send that letter. So you took it upon yourself to send it on your own. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Yes. To make an effort to rectify the two EIN numbers that are in place for this property owners association, as advised by an IRS representative that directed me back to their website for the instructions on how to do it.
I'm going to guess you
Okay,
did not
and so you
ask them
can
to look up the
understand-
old EIN number first.
Pardon? What'd you say,
I'm
Phil?
guessing you did not ask that IRS representative to look up the old EIN number 74-1. They would have told you that no longer exists in their database and cannot be reactivated because it has been discontinued and they will not reuse it.
And we put it twice. There's two different places on that SS4 when we applied for the new one. Notifying them we had an old EIN number. We were
Well, you didn't
advised by the IRS whenever we made that decision, because this subdivision was operating without a valid EIN number, which means we cannot collect dues or any of the fundraising that we were doing. We
Well,
can't
then you
legally
got
do that.
then you got a problem. You don't even have the proper name of the association on the SS4.
Yes, we do.
It says
According
Camp
to
Branch.
our governing documents, that is what was issued.
It says
It has
Look
Camp
a
at
map,
Branch.
Jerry.
C1. Look at
It
C1
says-
of your governing documents.
I'm reading. I'm reading it right now. Camp
Okay.
Branch Acres subdivision property owners. It doesn't say association.
That's because you only have so many lines online. Look at the IRS verification letter that was sent to us with the new ID. It's all spelled out.
No, on C1, can
No,
you
she's,
see
he's
this?
talking about the IRS
It
letter.
wasn't focused.
Okay.
The SS-4 letter that's been posted.
Okay. The IRS letter says Camp Branch Acre Subdivision and Property Owners Association. You have that
Okay.
letter that came from the IRS, that one
Where?
that Kelly is showing up. So if the application didn't get it,
I can't see that on my computer.
It's
okay. It spells it out. Camp Branch Acres Subdivision Property Owners Association. It is on there. It's in the
Kelly, if you
Okay.
hold that up again, I'll tell you where you need to do it so that the whole text shows to us.
Sure.
Just pull it back a little ways so that it focuses better. Okay. On the left side of my screen, I double clicked to make Kelly's screen go full screen. It says Camp Branch Acres Subdivision Property Owners Association. Can everyone see that on the IRS letter?
I don't.
No, no one is denying
Double-
that that assignment letter was sent. No one is denying that we have another assignment letter issued in
Well,
1977.
Jerry was saying that it didn't have the right name on it. That's all we were discussing at that point just now.
I was incorrect because I was looking at what had been posted.
So our original name was filed incorrectly, Jerry. It was originally filed as Camp Branch Acres Property Owners Association. That did not correspond with our founding documents, which say Camp Branch Acres Subdivision Property Owners Association. So it was the name was done incorrectly all the way back in the 70s.
I'm
So
just
that was
saying
just a name correction.
that the SS4 that is posted on the Google website doesn't show it. Okay. That's what I was
Okay, well-
pointing out. And then
okay.
if that is on there, that's fine. Okay. I will admit to making a mistake. Okay. I'm capable of that.
I know you are.
Okay, that's okay. We've got the name figured out. So
I still have a motion.
Are we done discussing? Do you want to take a vote, Jerry?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. Anybody else have anything else they want to say?
Phil, I don't think you're the chairman. I think the chairman should call for the vote.
Why I'm keeping
Anybody
quiet.
does anybody else have anything that they would like to add to this motion or this discussion? Okay, motion was made by Jerry, seconded by Charlene. Yes,
What is it? All in favor of removing Kelle Rahm as chairman of Camp Branch Acres Subdivision POA? Is that the motion that we're voting on?
well, it was a long thing. Jerry, do you want to
Jerry shortened it
revise
up.
that?
We have to know exactly what the motion is if you're going to ask us to vote.
The motion is to remove Kelle Rahm as chairperson of the board of Count Branch Acres Property Owners Association.
So Kelly, would you call for a vote, please, for
Hang
ayes
on.
and nays?
Hang on, I'm trying. Motion to remove Kelle Rahm as chairman of the board of the Camp Branch Acres Subdivision Property Owners Association. Okay. Motion was made by Jerry, seconded by Charlene. All in favor? Charlene,
Aye.
Please vote by name.
yeah, I'm gonna call you out. Jerry,
Jerry Sullivan, aye.
Bill,
Nay. Philip Canada, nay.
Kelly,
Nay.
I'm deciding vote and I'm not gonna remove myself. So I vote nay. Motion did not pass. Okay, there was one other thing that is a possibility that can be done. There are offices, branches of the IRS that we can make an appointment to go down in person to possibly take care of this. Would anybody like to go down there with me? So that I'm not,
I'll go.
you'll go? Okay, I
Jerry
can make an
Sullivan,
appointment.
Jerry Sullivan, make the appointment. I'll go with you.
Okay.
I'd like for Charlene O'Brien to send a draft of a follow-up letter that she will send to the IRS, requesting that they ignore her previous correspondence dated March 21st, 2025.
I'm not drafting anything at this point, Phil. I will respond to whatever letter they respond to me with.
Even in defiance of a board request?
I'm not in defiance. I
You are.
stand
The
very
board
minute.
firm.
votes to
Wait a minute,
send-
wait.
I stand very firm
You're-
that I was acting as my duty to try to figure out this duplicate
didn't.
IRS
You
and
made a
get the bank
request
the
that they
information that
deactivate
they
our
needed
business
because it
name.
had not been submitted to me.
You didn't
I think
ask anything. You told them what to do.
Okay, so if Jerry and I go to the IRS and they tell us that the 1977 EIN number cannot be reactivated, that we have to get a new EIN number, and you have sent a letter telling them to deactivate / cancel the new EIN number, canceling is different than just deactivating.
Well,
It's
we
the
need
same
to
We're
terminology
gonna
to
be
the
we're
IRS.
gonna be without an EIN number. So
Kelly, please know that we can request that they reactivate the 2024 EIN number.
if
If
you
that
had
Just
turns
only
out to be-
understand, it's not gone away.
okay,
It's not up in oblivion that we can't get back to it.
And
so right now
Phil,
we're basically working on
and
it.
Phil, for your request, you were speaking for the board. You're a board member. You're not all of the board. If we wanted to make that request, it should be from all of the
That was a
board.
motion to all of us, Jerry. That wasn't me telling her what to do. That was me making a motion that we do that and her saying that I'm not gonna, no matter what you guys say.
I didn't understand that to be a
That's what I
motion,
was
and
saying.
I
You
don't
know,
think,
we all have enough experience, Jerry, to know that one person doesn't make that kind of an order.
I was just clarifying that, just to make sure,
Okay.
okay? So,
Okay,
again, I don't think we
wrote
need,
the
I don't think we need, I think it's premature to make that request at this time.
Really? in spite of the fact that you have multiple board members who have spoken with the IRS personally and verified under penalty of perjury to you that the IRS has said to us on multiple occasions, EIN number 74-19 cannot be reinstated.
As many people state, if it's not in writing, it hasn't happened.
And the IRS, okay, so we're just going to do without having any bank account. I get it.
Okay, so,
We currently have a bank account. If Kelly can go ahead and make
We're
that
supposed to be picking
appointment.
up checks. I don't know how we can pick up checks that have already been drafted.
okay. Apparently y'all have talked to the
Whoa,
bank
whoa,
since
whoa, wait a
Friday.
minute. Wait
Let-
a minute. What? No, wait, what was that statement, Phil?
I have been
Picking
told,
up checks that have already been drafted? What
I've
are
been
you
told
talking
that
about?
our accounts have been closed and that we need to go in with and pick up the money with minutes from the board or something like that.
Yes, that's
So
that's
that
what
means we cannot use the banking accounts if they've been closed. We can't write
They
checks
have
on a
not been
closed account.
closed. The accounts have not been closed. They are still active.
Okay, so you have talked with them.
Until when?
Hang on just a second, Phil. Have you talked to them since I sent out that information, that banking letter?
I talked to
I've talked
Mr.
to no one.
Juarez on Thursday and on Friday.
Okay, and did you get a letter from him? An email from him?
Nope, he was going back to the compliance department and going to get with me on Monday.
Okay, so at that point, would it have been in the board's best interest for you to notify us and copy that in response to the email that I sent with his email stating that you spoke with him, asking him to extend this bank account for 30 days? Would that
I
have
didn't
been
ask.
in the
No,
board's
no, no,
best?
no, 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 no. I did not ask him to do anything. I did not ask him to do anything. I asked him what was the procedure, that I'd never been through anything like this, and what is the procedure? Do we have access to our funds? Yes, you do. So that we have a time frame. When we have to have this money moved. He said typically it's 30 days, no less.
Okay, so at that point, would it have been in the board's best interest or your best interest to notify the board that that was the information that you got, that we didn't have to jump in here, that we could possibly go through this and have done this on in our May meeting? And in the meantime, we could have, Jerry and I or the board could have discussed. See, this is where the lack of communication is coming in with this board. We're not
I didn't have all the
communicating. And you should
information
have
for
let
you.
us know that you talked to him and
I-
they are extending.
As soon
that
as I had
information.
something in writing from him on
Charlene, you're not
Monday,
listening.
the board, you're not listening, Kelly.
My God, you've got to communicate. You're not communicating with the board. I don't care if it's
She
just.
didn't have anything to communicate until Monday when he gets back to her, Kelly. So
But
all
she
she could
talked to
tell
him
you is
on Thursday and said that our account is okay for 30 days. She could have let us know that.
she was
She
waiting
could
to
have just
hear.
sent a quick little email or a response to that, because I've sent these emails out with other bank information, letting everybody know. She could have said, okay, quick phone call with Ivan that our account is good for 30 days to give us some time to look into this matter.
He said
That
this
would
was
have been respectful to the rest of the board to have done.
He said this was standard procedure. Why don't you already know that it's 30 days? He didn't do anything special for me. How did I know
And
you didn't know we had 30 days to move everything
You
around?
asked him. You asked him,
You were up
apparently.
there.
That's what I heard you say.
Well, I would have thought somebody who was up there in front of the bank would be asking those kind of questions, at who was going to send out a letter stating that our bank account had been closed, what the deal was.
We have this letter from the bank. This is,
Mhm.
I asked him to send us this letter and I forwarded that to y'all, the
Mhm.
information that we got. I forwarded it to you. And
Well,
if
what can I
y'all
tell
talk
you,
to the
Kelly?
bank afterwards,
It is unfortunate that he did not give you full information at the time.
you know, and this is where communication of the board that we do not have. And it stems with y'all down there trying to do something and us trying to do something, and it's not working. It is not working. We have got, y'all have stopped.
Y'all aren't
Y'all
telling us
stopped
we aren't.
the communication early on in this, in the whole situation. And if we can't communicate with one another, if it's just a quick little email
Kelly,
or a quick little
Kelly,
text,
Kelly, are you going to make the appointment for us to go to the IRS?
I'm gonna make the appointment. Yes.
Okay.
Kelly, why,
Then I think
if you want to talk about communicating, why didn't you reach out to me instead of going to the bank? Why didn't you
Because
give
you
me
sent us
time?
an email that you were on vacation. Oh my God. Right after that, you sent us a deal that you're
What-
unavailable until the 5th and you would get back with us. Oh my God.
What is
So,
what is
okay.
10 days waiting on me to get back? What was the urgency in going to the bank? There was none. It was you
Yeah.
going around me because you didn't like something I did.
Because you're not communicating because of what you're doing
Sorry.
is
So you
not
penalized
communicating with
me
the
instead of
board.
waiting until I got back to have a grown-up discussion with me about it. You
Mhm.
penalized me by going over my head and going directly to the bank.
Well, this is why this,
If you're going to
told-
make Kelly, let me know when you make the appointment. Okay?
okay.
I think we've done all we can. I make a motion, we close this meeting.
Kelly, do you have anything else that you need to?
No,
I think we need to agree as a board that no officer will send out any kind of letter to the IRS or to our banks without running it through an approval process.
Okay, you making a motion?
I make a motion that no further letters be sent to the IRS or to any other organization on behalf of Cent Camp Branch Acres
Wait,
POA. Um,
wait,
You're interrupting me.
I-
Why are you interrupting me?
because I have a motion on the floor.
Well, that's a good reason. What's your motion, Jerry?
My motion is to close this meeting.
Yeah, okay.
Did anybody second it?
I
Kelly,
second
will
it.
somebody pursue this motion?
Okay, Jerry motion to close, Charlene second. All in favor? Charlene,
Yes, Charlene, aye.
Jerry,
Aye.
Kelly?
Okay.
Nay? Was that a nay?
no,
You want to close the meeting? Is that correct?
yeah, because frankly, we're not going to get anywhere. We're going to continue to circle the drain and we're getting nowhere. So
Understood.
like Jerry and Kelly go to the IRS, they're going to tell them what they've told all of us over the phone, what you can validate online, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, so you don't want to
Okay,
discuss
and so we're just
further
gonna
letters going out?
Yeah, we're just gonna let everybody, okay, yeah.
All right.
All right,
So we
board
don't
made
need
it.
any more
Fine.
votes. We got a majority there.
Okay.
Okay.
Meeting's
Meeting
closed.
adjourned at 6:25.